Hey guys, well, what's going on? We are about to head out on the boat with my whole family as well as my friend Megan, who is home from Virginia, and we are going to go scouting for lobsters. We are only a couple weeks out from lobster mini season, and every year before season comes we do this. We head out, we try to find where the lobsters are. That way when season comes we know exactly where they are so we can go out there and catch them. So in today's video I am going to try to think of as many tips as I possibly can for you guys about where to find the lobsters, how to find them, and anything to help you be successful. And then at the end of the video, after we go diving, I will go over all of our dive gear as well as any of the other gear that you need to catch lobsters. So I hope you guys enjoy. I will see you on the water.
Those antennas you spotted, it's a bolt. It's a bolt, so they're here. It's a short, but it's a bolt. Can you figure it out? No, it's true. He might be legal now.
Today is so clear that I could literally see an antenna. This is antenna of a lobster under a rock under the boat, and I was like, Dad, dive right here and you'll literally find a lobster. And he said it was a molt. So this is a lobster molt. Lobsters molt, and that is how they grow. They shed their current shell and then they grow bigger every single time that they shed their shell. So that's an empty shell, and we know that there's lobsters down there because this is his empty shell. All right, so before I jump in the water, I'm gonna give you guys a little tip that we always do. As a precaution to avoid your mask fogging up, we always use some toothpaste. So we always carry around these little mini travel toothpaste in our bags, and you just put a little dot in the glass of your mask, one on both sides, and then just take your finger. There is products that companies sell for mask defogging for this exact reason, but we prefer to just use toothpaste. We think it works absolutely great. And then jump in the water, clear out the toothpaste, and then you're ready to go. We usually do it every time. Like, let's say we move spots and then the mask has been in the boat again, reapply your toothpaste, and then you'll avoid fogging up in your mask.
Here's another tip. I've had people message me on Instagram saying, oh, I see you in Brook's videos freediving with like facial hair. And they said I always get leaks in my mask. If you use Vaseline, you just have to put it on where you have facial hair, where your mask is touching, and it'll keep the water out. Pro tip.
There's a pro tip for all you boys out there with beards. It's also funny when sometimes he gets out of the water and he has it all over his mask and it looks like weird stuff in his beard, and it's like, oh yeah, it's just Vaseline. All right, so I'm jumping in on our first spot of the day. Let's see what we can find. I will see you underwater. So I just spotted the first lobster and its antenna was sticking out of the rock. One is too small. He would not be a keeper. You can just tell that it's a baby. But yeah, that's the first lobster of the day. Let's see if we can find some more.
There's multiple underneath the rock if you go look.
those two are definitely legal. They are big ones. Now, with all the ocean's beauty, it does come with a few dangers. And no, I'm not talking about sharks. Over the last few years, I've seen an increase of lionfish on our local reefs. Lionfish are an invasive species that made their way onto our reefs from people releasing them from aquariums. They may be beautiful, but they have a voracious appetite that threatens the native fish populations. Our Florida Wildlife Commission encourages divers to remove any that they see. We speared these two and brought them home for dinner. They are actually very delicious, but they have poisonous spines, so be extremely careful around these. The next dangerous species is a scorpion fish. It is a master at camouflage, which is what makes it so dangerous. It's actually in this shot. Can you spot it? Scorpion fish have many toxic spikes and spines across their bodies. The venom from these contain powerful neurotoxins that can be extremely painful and even deadly. Now, both these creatures won't come at you and attack you, but they are slow moving, and all you need to do is bump into one and your day is ruined. Up next on our list of dangerous species is the sea urchin. These can be found all over the reef and under rocks, very often right next to the lobster that you want to catch. These also have venomous spines. I promise you won't enjoy a spike from one of these going into your finger. Now, although these species can sound a little scary, as long as you're observant, you should have no issue with any of them. Alright guys, you can see how small that rock is, and the antenna of the lobster was only sticking out like this much. So that's all you need to see to be able to see that there's a lobster under the rock, but always make sure you're looking under all the rocks. so we are now at our second spot. The first spot we were in was like 15 feet of water. This spot is only 9 feet of water, so much more shallow. But you don't find as many lobsters on this area as we do on that deeper area. How was your first dive, Gabby?
It was great. The water was nice, and there was a part when all these fishes literally like surrounded Fisher in a circle, and it was really cool. They were just all around him.
Brian and I seen a really big tarpon, and he opened his mouth like really big to yawn as he swam by us, and that was the highlight of my dive.
What about you, Meg?
I was really excited to shoot my first lionfish, and I got right up to him after Victor had shot 2 and pulled the spear back and let go, and I hit him but spooked him a little bit and didn't hit him quite hard enough, so he went underneath a rock. So that was a bummer because he wedged himself under a rock and we couldn't get back to him. But then later Victor went back and saw a nurse shark eating him, so at least somebody got the lionfish today, even if it wasn't me.
Good job.
I had a great dive. I got 2 lionfish. I think everyone had fun. Saw a ton of life, saw a nice hogfish, and now we're going to the second spot, so hopefully I get some more lionfish for dinner.
Solid dive. I'm just hoping the lobsters are out here come mini season. Hopefully this hurricane that's supposedly coming will stir them up and we'll get them.
All right, so me and my dad think that we saw probably close to like 10 lobsters. Some of them were definitely not keepers. You can just tell that they were really, really small lobsters. Fisher says he saw 18, which I completely agree, because Fisher can hold his breath way longer than anyone, and he really gets down there and really searches hard underneath these rocks. So if he saw 18, I'm sure he definitely saw 18 compared to us only seeing 10. So it pays to be able to hold your breath longer and really get down there and search under every single rock to be able to find more lobsters.
The reason most people don't do well catching lobsters is they're just lazy, snorkeling on the surface, waiting for that stupid lobster that's sticking out with his tentacles. And they go, oh, there's one, and they go down and get one, and they find 2 or 3 like that. But if you work hard, you know, if you stay in shape so that you can work hard and get down there to the bottom and look under every rock, and not just like, oh yeah, I looked. No, get your head under the rock. You're gonna see 10 times more lobsters than everybody else. That's why Fisher, like Brooke said, she nailed it. That's why Fisher's seen more than the rest of us, because I looked under some rocks, but I was mostly lazy diving, looking from the surface. You're gonna see more. The more you stick your head into the rocks, the better you're gonna do.
If you were just swimming along trying to find them from the surface, you would have never have seen that one because it was way under that rock. We should count how many planes go over while I do this. We've already hit 1. And I haven't even started. Alright guys, so we have come to the part of the video where I sit down and I'm going to go over all the gear that you need to catch lobsters and any other tips that I can just think of as I'm doing this. So the first thing that I'm going to say is that I am not sponsored by any of these brands. I sure wish I was, but I'm not. So I've honestly been diving since I could probably swim, so successfully, maybe since like 4 years old, out there in the ocean snorkeling. My dad has been diving since he was like 12 or something, I think. So over the years, we've figured out what we like the most, what works the best for us. And so that's just what I'm going to tell you guys is over the years, what has worked the best for us, and those are going to be my suggestions for you. The first thing we're going to start with, oh, also this is a fake lobster. Some plastic pool toy that I'm pretty sure we've had also like my entire life. First thing I'm going to talk about is actually my very own product, which I am very excited about. We're actually about to hit 1 year of me owning the FloridLobsterNets.com website and actually selling these on there. So very excited. We have been using these lobster nets for over 10 years. My neighbor originally designed them and you guys had so many questions about them and were always asking me that I actually make them now and I sell them on my website, FloridLobsterNets.com. If you guys have watched my videos before, you have seen us use these hundreds of times and been very successful with them. They work amazing. You will never see me ever use any other kind of lobster net. Pretty simple to use. They're clear so the lobsters can't see them, first of all. The second point is they have a shallow net, so your lobster is very easy to take out of the net. You don't have to try to get it untangled. Because if you guys don't know, lobsters have lots of spines, and these are horns up here, and their legs get all caught in a deep net. So the shallow net is so that it comes out real quick. You do, however, have to grab the lobster once you net it. The way you use it is you take the net and you put it behind the tail of the lobster like this, so the lobster is going to be staring at you. You want to come at it head first. Its antennas are going to be up at you like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your net, go behind the tail, and as soon as you hit the sand behind the tail and he is lined up with your net, you're going to put it on top of him and you have to take your other hand and grab the lobster. There you go. Successful lobster catch. I mean, it might take a little time to get used to it if you're used to using a different kind of net, but I promise you it works amazing. We obviously couldn't catch any lobsters in this video because it's not lobster season, but I'll play some clips on the screen, as well as you guys can watch any of my old videos. I will have them linked down below. But this thing works like a charm. Behind the tail, go like this, catch them, there you go, bam. So that is the lobster net on my website, FloridLobsterNets.com. I will have a link in the description for the net, as well as I have a tickle stick now. It's also clear. When you're lobstering, the lobsters are usually under the rocks, like you saw in this video. And to get the lobsters out from under the rocks so that you can catch them to use the net, you need a tickle stick. A tickle stick is literally just used to tap on his tail like this, and you're basically just annoying them enough to come out of the rock. They're like, what the heck is going on? They come out of the rock that they've been chilling under for days or whatever it is. You coax them out of the rock just far enough where they're out from the rock. Sometimes I like to do both like this. So you'd use your one hand, tickle the lobster out with the tickle stick. He comes out of the rock. Once he's out from underneath the rock, you take this hand, go like this, grab him, and you got yourself dinner, just like that. So that's how these two work together. This is also on my website. So one more thing that's also on my website. I know you guys are like, Brooke, stop talking about your own stuff, but that's okay. These Florida Lobster Co. t-shirts. You got the little logo in the front and then these 3 lobster tails in the back. It's my first time I've ever put out a t-shirt, so I'm very excited about it. I came up with this design and then a local Jupiter artist is actually the one who drew it and put it on a shirt for me, so I'm very proud of these. These are also on my website. Okay, so now you know how to use the tools to catch your lobsters. Tickle stick, net, only thing that you need. Some people use snares. I didn't grow up using snares. Can't spear lobsters in Florida. You can in the Bahamas, but not in Florida, so we don't use spears. You can use a net to catch them, and you can also use your hands. Of course, if you like digging your hands under the rocks to grab them, that works as well. On that note, let's move on to talking about gloves. One thing you 100% need are gloves. Over the years, we've gone through a ton of different gloves. Honestly, I've had these ones for years. I can't even remember how long, and these are actually Gabby's now. She uses these. Also, over the years, I think the gloves have gotten better. These are, I believe they're Hammerhead spear gun gloves. I'm also going to have links down below of all the stuff that I'm going to show you guys. Again, I'm not sponsored, but I like using all these things, so I'll show you where I find them. Some will be Amazon links, and some might just be directly to a website. But Hammerhead spear gun gloves, these have actually made it now into like 2 seasons, I believe, which is pretty good, so I think these ones work great. The only glove I would suggest to you not to buy, it doesn't have to be a Hammerhead spear gun glove, would be these. This is the worst glove. I think it might even be a gardening glove, I'm not sure, but you grab a lobster with this glove and it'll feel like you're not even wearing a glove. So whatever you do, don't buy one of these cotton gardening gloves. I don't even know what they are. I don't even know what you would use this for. Even if you pulled a weed, you'd probably hurt your hand, so don't buy those. Another airplane. All right, so the next thing we're gonna talk about that you need is a dive flag. You legally need a dive flag in your boat to be able to be lobstering. This is called a diver's down flag. People know that you are diving if you display one of these on your boat, or if you're on a kayak. Even if you are on a surfboard out there, you can even have ones that float. They have a ball at the bottom and it just floats in the water if you're going off the beach. You need to have a dive flag. It needs to be a certain size. The size of the dive flag will be right here. It needs to be a certain size flag, so you need a dive flag. This allows other boaters to know that you have people in the water who are diving. I believe the law is the second that you have a breathing apparatus on your mast, which means like a snorkel, you need to have a dive flag. Let's say you were just wearing a pair of goggles. I don't think you legally need to have a dive flag, but always have a dive flag. This is how you are going to stay safe out there, as long as everyone follows the rules and they know what the dive flag means. Another thing you legally need to be able to actually go out there and catch lobsters is a Florida fishing license, as well as a lobster permit. You need both of those things. I'll even have a link down below to the Florida Wildlife Commission website where you guys can buy a license as well as the lobster permit. You need both of those things. And if you don't have like a lifetime permit, some people have those, you need to get one every single year. I believe they only last 1 year, so you're gonna have to renew your license if you didn't do it this year. Another thing that you need, I believe this is also legally, you need to have a lobster measuring device. The hope one day is that I have some of these on my website, but for now, you can buy them at any dive shop, you can buy them online. But a lobster needs to be greater than 3 inches to keep, so you need to have a measuring device on your boat so you can measure a lobster. They're usually metal, sometimes they're plastic, but it's right here is the 3-inch mark of the gauge. And you would put that right here at the top of the carapace. The lobster's head is called the carapace. Right between the eyes, right against these horns up here. And then you'd go down to the back of the head, towards the tail. Go from the head to the tail. As long as it doesn't pass the head, it is a legal lobster. If it's touching the head like this, then that means it's legal because it doesn't go past the head. The head needs to be greater than 3 inches. Let's talk about lobster season. Lobster mini season is the last Wednesday and Thursday every year of July. It's different. I believe it's the 28th and 29th this year of July. Let me fact check myself on that. So mini season is July 28th and 29th of this year. Regular lobster season begins on August 6th. Now the difference between mini season and lobster season, and it's closed between that week there, is the mini season allows all the recreational people like us, like you guys, to go out there and have a chance to catch lobsters before the commercial fishermen are allowed to place their traps, or commercial divers, on August 6th. Another plane. So it's called mini season, lobster sports season. It's for all the recreational people. August 6th is when everyone can still go out there, all the recreational people, but also the commercial fishermen. And the season goes all the way until the very end of March. A lot of people don't know that. They don't dive January, February, March, but it goes all the way until March 31st. And then it's closed after that until mini season again. Next thing we're gonna talk about is this lobster bag. Do you need one? Not really. If you are going to be going off the beach, highly recommend one. If you're going in a kayak, I highly recommend one. If you're going in the boat and you want to throw every single lobster into the boat, you don't necessarily need one. But we've had this one, I also believe, my entire life. My parents are in the canvas business, so they have replaced the zipper a few times on this thing. It's also called a lobster hotel. But the way it works is you would take your lobster and you would just shove it into this hole here. And it has this little door trap thing here that allows you to push the lobster in, but they can't find their way back out. So I think you can probably fit like 3 dozen lobsters in here before they kind of get a little bit hard to shove into the top. So you can fit plenty of lobsters in one of these bags. Also, let's say if you find a good spot where there's like 5 and you don't want to swim every single lobster back to the boat, it's really easy to throw the lobster bag in the boat, catch those 5 lobsters, and then give the bag back to the people on the boat so you don't have to carry it around, because believe me, this thing gets heavy. So lobster hotel, lobster bag. Now let's move on to our dive gear. I don't even know if I'm still filming. I should probably check that. Okay, so dive gear. Like I said, we've been doing this for a long time, so we've used a lot of different products and brands and things like that, and we have found what we like the best. We have 3 kind of different price point fins here that I'm gonna show you. The first one is these US diver fins. These are Gabby's fins. When we were younger, we all had a pair of fins like this. They're not that expensive. I'm pretty sure this US Divers brand comes with a mask and snorkel as well as the fins, and you can buy them online at dive shops, things like that. And for any beginner, highly recommend this. It works great. Let's say you have young kids and they're not going to fit in the same size fin forever, and you don't want to keep buying expensive fins. Don't buy an expensive brand when you can find a cheaper brand, because they're just going to grow out of it. By the next season, let's say you only go diving once a year or a couple times a year, they're going to grow out of those fins, and then you're going to have to buy another pair. So don't buy something expensive for your kids. Buy them a cheaper pair. These will work great. When we were younger, we had small fins like this all the time. Now you guys see me use these big fins. Is it necessary? Not really. Do I like them? Heck yeah. This is obviously gonna get you down to the bottom a lot faster and a lot easier than this is. Obviously you can tell this is a lot smaller, it's more flimsy than this giant fin. But before I moved from this to this, I also went to this. So this is a Mare's brand, and I'm pretty sure my dad has used Mare's his entire life. And this exact brand, I think this is like the Avanti, Plana Avanti. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Plain. I feel like my dream with YouTube of like a dream sponsor would be Mare's. Like that would be absolutely awesome. But these fins, my dad has them, my mom has them, Jed has them. These used to be mine. I'm pretty sure I used these for like 10 years. And before that, I think they were actually my mom's. And then she gave these to me, and then she bought a new pair. But these have been in the family forever. They're amazing. I actually still wear them occasionally. I did that treasure hunting video in 4 to like 8 feet of water, and I didn't want to be wearing these all day. So I wore these. Still work absolutely amazing. Great, great fin. My dad will never buy anything different than this brand right here. Over the last few years, I moved on to this. We were doing Bahamas trips and diving deeper water, and I wanted a longer fin. So these are also Mare's. I love them. I wear socks with them actually because they're a little bit too big. I don't wear a bootie. I think a bootie is too thick, so I just wear a pair of socks with them. That's another thing you can do if your fins are too big. Throw on a pair of socks. Makes life a lot better. And it kind of helps from getting blisters. Diving and fins are kind of a recipe for blisters. So if you have room in there to throw on a pair of socks, I recommend that. I always wear socks. Again, the price point, I believe these are closer to like 80 bucks. These, maybe 30-ish, I think. These maybe more like 150, but you can buy fins all the way up to like freaking $400. You can buy special blades like carbon fiber and all those kind of things. So you can literally buy dive gear from 20 bucks to hundreds of dollars. So that is up to you. There is plenty of things that are great quality at a cheaper price versus the more expensive. Again, if you're a beginner, I wouldn't do the more expensive, or if you have younger kids, also don't do the more expensive. When it comes to mask, it's really what fits your face better versus a brand. I have had a really hard time finding a mask that fits my face. I think I have a smallish head, so I need a very small mask. But the best thing to do is literally to go to a dive shop, and they even show you to put the mask on your face and you suck in with your nose, and if it sticks to your face good and feels comfortable, that's the mask for you. If you breathe in and you have air coming through, don't get that mask. Keep trying them on until you find one that fits good, because you don't want to wear this thing all day and have it be uncomfortable. That is like the worst thing ever. Kind of the same thing with fins. Go to the dive shop, try them on, and find one that fits you good, because they also aren't really perfectly aligned with shoe sizes. Let's even see what these even say. I wear a size 8. These say 5'6". Both of these both say 5'6", and I wear a size 8 in regular shoes. So if you have the opportunity to go to the dive shop to try on dive gear before you buy it, definitely do that, because you don't want to buy a pair of fins or a mask online and it doesn't fit that good. I don't even know what brand this is. I went to the dive shop and probably tried like 25 on, and this was the one that I found was the best for me. If you are a lady, I highly recommend one of these things for your hair, or even guys, like if you have longer hair, like taking your mask on and off and it getting stuck, because the back piece of the mask is made of rubber and it gets stuck in your hair and that sucks. So I don't remember what these things exactly are called, but they just Velcro onto the back strap of your mask. Just like that. And believe me, it makes your life a lot better to have one of these versus ripping your hair out every single time you take your mask on and off. I don't even know what to say about a snorkel. A snorkel's a snorkel. As long as you know how to properly use it and you're not breathing in the water through your snorkel, then I don't think the snorkel matters all that much. There are freediving snorkels that don't have the, I can't remember what this is called. Whatever this is called. Point of this is if you go underwater and you bring your head up out of the water will pour out of this little thing back here. You're supposed to blow the water out of your snorkel every single time, but let's say there's a little water left in your snorkel. If you stuck your head out of the water, it would come through this little thing. But I can't remember what it's called. I'll put the word right here. This snorkel is also a mare's snorkel. Shout out to mares. Love you guys. Okay, what else can I talk about? As long as you have all the things I basically talked about today, you are set up for success. All the legal things, you have the correct dive gear, you have the tools to catch them. Now you gotta know how to find them and how to catch them. And what we did in this video today, going out and searching for them, is what you need to do to be successful. You can't just assume you're gonna go out there and find the lobsters. I have a lot of people who reach out to me saying, Brooke, I went diving and I didn't find any lobsters. You know, sometimes I go diving and I don't find any lobsters either. You gotta put the time in to go out there and find them. It's just like fishing. You gotta go find good spots to where the fish are. Same thing with lobsters. And it also might change. Sometimes you go out there and you find the lobsters in the same spot, you know, week after week. And then the next time you go there, no lobsters. They move around, so they're not always in the same place. If you're going to a new location, let's say you guys are going down to the Keys for mini season, or maybe the beginning of lobster season or something like that, and you've never been to any of these spots before, go out there a couple days before the season starts if you have the ability to do that, and find some new spots. That way, when the season comes, you can get out there and you can go find yourself some lobsters, because it's just like with anything, you gotta kind of put some practice in to be successful at it. You gotta go out there, put the time in, find the lobsters. That way you can go catch yourself some dinner, and then you guys will be more than happy. And also, like the other thing that we kind of talked about in this video, you gotta search under every single rock. Not all the lobsters are gonna be sitting out like this one is, but you can just go and grab them off the bottom of the seafloor. Sometimes they're under rocks, even on the tops. Like let's say you have a big round rock, he could even be up there. You gotta stick your head under there and not be afraid to look around to be able to find them, because if you don't look hard enough, I promise you, you won't see them. Another thing is when lobster season does come around, what my family does is everyone kind of teams up together to catch the lobsters. You know, not everyone goes off and does their own thing. You know, you can mess with a lobster for 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes even by yourself, chasing them back and forth in a rock. But if you had another person there and you chased them to the other side of the rock, they could go and catch it on the other side of the rock. But if you were there by yourself, you'd have to chase him out one side, go to the other side, and try to catch him before he moved back under the rock. So teamwork is honestly probably my biggest tip for you. Don't go out and try to be a hero and catch them all by yourself. You know, have people on the surface even watching. Sometimes you chase a lobster out and that thing darts 30 feet and you come up and you're like, where the heck did the lobster go? And someone's like, he just went over there. So that's what my mom does. My mom is always sitting on the surface and she has her eyes always looking to making sure that the lobsters don't escape from the rocks, because believe me, it happens. Even if you're in 15 feet of water, that thing crawls out from the rock, and if you're not paying good attention, he escapes and you have no idea where he goes. They blend in well with the seafloor, and you might see one, you go back down there and he's gone, and he walked away laughing at you because you weren't paying attention. And then also another major tip that I would have is to just be safe. There's a lot of people that do this. There's a lot of people who it may be their first time out there. You know, boating safety is a huge thing. Diving safety is a huge thing. Don't dive by yourself. Have buddies with you. Shallow water blackout is a thing. There is a lot of things that can go wrong. You want to have fun, but you also want to be safe and have things set in place of precautions. You know, you don't want to go out there not knowing a plan if something were to happen. If you saw a boat coming towards you, you know, talk about what you guys would do. Make sure your boat's always in neutral, or even turn the engine off if you have divers getting in or getting out. You always want to be paying attention. You know, you want to have fun with your family, but you also want to stay safe and make sure everyone has a great time. So also always be thinking about diving safety. Boating safety is also a huge thing about lobstering. Make sure everyone dives close together. You don't want the one brother who goes off 100 feet away from everyone and everyone's freaking out wondering where he is, and you get just that slight little chop and you can't find each other anymore when you're in the water, you know, head level with the seas. You get even a 6-inch 1-foot chop and you can't find anyone. So if someone's 100 feet away, you're not going to see them. So stay close together. There's no reason for someone to go off on their own. Stay close together, stay safe, and you'll have a good time and you'll have a lot of fun. And I hope that you guys catch some dinner. Thank you again to everyone who has already bought lobster nets or tickle sticks or t-shirts. I greatly appreciate all of you. If you guys use them this season, tag me in photos, email them to me, tell me about your stories. I want to see them. You know, I'll post them on my Instagram. I even have an Instagram, Florida Lobster Nets, that you guys can check out. I want to see you using them. I want to see you having fun. I want to see what you guys catch. Go out there, have fun with your family. Thank you guys for watching. If you have questions, comment down below. Again, I'll have a bunch of stuff linked in the description. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. And I will see you in the next one. Good luck this lobster season.